What is going on, RuneScape fans? It is your boy Ojama Garrett's, and this is my tier list for balling on a budget under 10 mil. So, right? So for the people who don't have a long retention, I just kind of broke this down here. These first 5 items I put here to kind of explain the gist, the main logic behind the entire list here. So the general premise of flipping, especially with smaller items, is that you have a lower entry point. So essentially how this is going to work is that items that are 100 and less are going to more than often than not be S tier, generally, depending on the volume. Okay, depending on the volume, obviously. But I mean, there's a lot of other variables, but just this, the simplest rule of thumb I could come up with for this video is 1000 would be S tier, or 100 would be less than 100 would be S tier. So over 100 would be so I probably should have had like 1 GP or something here. So one, like under 100 would be S tier for cheaper banks because it's lower entry. 100 to 1000 would be A tier, and just so on and so forth. And we can kind of go just straight up, just for all people with 10 mil or less. If you got 10 mil or less, you're kind of probably not like super good at the game too. That's kind of like my mentality here. So you kind of like have a more shallow understanding of how the game works. So that would be third age items as well. Third age items to represent like 10 mil and beyond. Just all items that are more expensive than 1 mil. You probably will not want to trade too much. 100k, you know, 10k to 1 mil, they're going to be like in between. So this is kind of like your sliding scale and stuff like that. So stuff that's going to be like S tier. Like for instance, my first S tier item I'll put up there. I'll just put it up there just to start it off normal because this is what I'm known for. It is going to be pure essence. Is that pure essence or rune essence? Oh, that is rune essence. So rune essence, I will toss it to A tier right off the bat too. It has been for no reason. I don't understand why. You buy it, look up the chart. It's like 10 to 11. 10 sell for buy, or a little bit buy for 10, sell for 11. Pure essence comes in really fast. You can sell it to bulkers for like 1.2, 1.3 each if you don't want to wait. But if you just want to buy and hold and slowly sell it off with your your main account or free to play alts or something like that, pure essence is just like the standard item to start with. That's just, I feel like it's the first entry point for all flipping. I feel like every item you should flip is pure essence because you literally cannot lose on the item. So there we go. There's for all the retention. There you guys go. Now I'll just break down the list normally here. So this is seeds. Seeds I'm going to put in C tier because you can buy seeds to sell to collectors and stuff, but me personally haven't had a lot of luck flipping seeds like relatively easy from what I understand. I think they have a lower buy limit too, so it's harder to get a lot of volume out of them. Yeah, so it's just they're kind of weird. Some of them don't have a lot of volume, some of them are really volatile, stuff like that. It's just really hard to win trades when you're not that good at the game. So adamant armor, with like 10 mil or less, I'm gonna put adamant at like C tier because it's just a large entry point. As you can see, all of them start to approach. I'll put higher than the 10k here, obviously, but they all like, as you go up the adamant item tree, they all buy and sell okay. It's just there's better items to buy. Like you could buy adamant pipe bodies and sell them to the bulkers if you really want to do that, but with only 10 mil, you're not going to have that much of a not a lot of profit potential. Adamant bars, then kind of the same thing too. They have a lot more volume and they're kind of cheap, so they will go higher here. But they're sort of, let me see if that's the only bar I got there. Okay. So I did drop a bunch of bars in there to talk about specifically because I don't want to like group everything together. But adamant bars, there's a lot of volume, but it's still on the pricier side, so it's not that good to get. Adamant ores, though, we will bring up into the B tier because they are less than 1,000. My boy Shiny Mew and a couple other people are, if I remember correctly here, just talking about adamant ores. Yes. Vot from the chat said he bought 1 mil adamant ore at 870 after the dip. They might go back to 1k soon. They're down to 840 right now, so like they are maybe a good time to buy and hold right now. But if you're doing like normal flipping where you just kind of do daily flips and stuff like that, beginner flipping, it's sort of there's a lot better items. So this is also arms. This is supposed to represent my 1 mil and stuff like that. And Aram set, Derek set, Guthin set, all the items that are like 1 mil plus, even 500k, stuff like that. They're going to be better than... You'll get into them eventually. It's just stay away from them for now until your bank grows a little bit more, because like if you do a buy check, a normal margin check and stuff like that, you're gonna have like you're gonna lose a lot of money, and then it's gonna be harder for you to get that money back because these margins move around a lot too. The tax is a little bit more complicated, stuff like that. It's just better to move on. Air runes, solid high A tier. They sometimes are slower to buy, but they insta sell at 5. Not insta sell, but they sell the same day at 5. So as you can get them, they're very basic. It's very basic, very safe moneymaker. Generally, again, like Vop said from the Discord as well, I want to also mention that members items tend to buy better, faster than free-to-play items. It's just I want to leave the free-to-play items too, so that if you're like a noob, you have decent... I still put this high on the list because you can scale into it with free-to-play alts, and it is a safe item for you to go into at 4, buy it, sell at 5. So Amethyst arrows, I would put at B tier because they are a few hundred each. They sell at the same volume. They have the same margins as like their cheaper counterparts. So like rune arrows, they're like 60 each. And so there's no tax on that item with the same amount of margin. So like you lose a lot to margins here with Amethyst, but you know, it's not like an item. There's better items, but this one is better than most actually. Sorry, I should go ahead of Adamant Ore, my bad. Amethyst darts, same argument. The glory amulets, all the glory, dragonstone material, stuff like that. It's all pretty bad, I think. There's not a lot of margin. They're razor thin, and the volume's kind of weak on them too. They're better to buy and then process, like as a moneymaker, but that's not necessarily like a flipping thing. So then this represents all the rest of the amulets. They don't do that well. The cheaper ones are easier to get into, but the margins still kind of suck and the volume kind of sucks. So you're stuck holding this item that doesn't give you a lot of margin for long periods of time. So there's just not that good of an item. This anchovies, anglerfish. So this is supposed to be my raw foods. Or did I have another raw food in here? Some raw foods can perform okay, so it's a B tier flip. But some raw foods kind of suck. So the ones that I think are the best are the ones that are under 100, obviously. The ones with the highest volume are going to be the best ones. So like salmon, trout, lobsters, swordfish, stuff like that. Cooked anglerfish, same thing, low B tier, high C. Probably put that high C because not a lot of margin, a lot of tax to deal with. The volume's okay, but it's not that good. Just not the greatest item to buy. So then, Ancient Essence I will put up in S tier because the margin has moved a couple times. Like when I first started my series flipping, when I first started flipping different high volume items and I was put onto Ancient Essence, they were printing money for me at 10, selling at 11, but then the margin crashed down to 9, 10, which isn't that big of a deal. In the worst case scenario, if you're flipping this item and the item goes down 1 GP because there's so much volume, they're stable. That's part of the reason why I'm saying like this is such a good item to go for, because they're very stable. So if the margin crashes, there's so much supply of the item that when you go to buy it, it won't crash on you. It won't go from 9 to 1 in 1 day. So you'll have time to see it happening. So what normally will happen is it'll fight and then drop down to 8, 9. And then at worst, what you're buying at 9, you resell it at 9 and then reinvest back at 8. So you just lose a little bit of time, but you don't lose any gold. So Ancient Essence is high on that list because it's super high volume, under 100 GP, etc., etc. So you have like pies and stuff. And I think pies are kind of booty. This kind of represents like niche. I don't know. I had an idea for it when I was making the list, but like there's like niche cooking items and stuff like that. There's a billion items on the RuneScape Grand Exchange. That's what I was trying to look when I was looking through all the GE items. My 4,200 icon folder. I was trying to grab relevant items and stuff to do decent commentary on, but it's like very, very difficult to pick stuff out. And like pies, yeah, it's something you can flip. But it's not like a lot of these niche items. You just got to give them a shot and just really just feel the pain of how they suck, really. Unless you're patient, I don't think it's really worth the slot. Unless you know something I don't know. Like I'm just speaking generically to like people with 10 mil and less again. So beer, I'm gonna put it in high C because I know this is a heavily botted item. Buying beer is one of those things that I've seen like free-to-play suicide botters use. So this is an item that has bot dumps potentially, I want to say, but I don't know that off the top of my head like super enough. This is an item that like I looked up as like a free-to-play moneymaker for like if you're like starting fresh with 0 GP. You can go to the bar with like 100 gold, buy it in a bunch of inventories of beer, and then kind of grow your cash stack that way a little bit, but whatever. Bones, these are big bones, and dragon bones, they're a little expensive, but they are super high volume, so I want to put them higher on the list here. Mid B, they're just basic. They have a lot of volume, but they're in the thousands range, so you're looking at like big bones is like not that much tax, but there's not as much volume on the big bones, so there is a little bit more margin there. Dragon bones, there's a lot of volume because everybody and their mom's killing dragons, especially bots, so you can catch dumps every once in a while. And the margins is pretty decent. Can be decent because of the volume and the volatility. The bots come and they go. People are always trading prayer like crazy. It's good shit. Black items, low B, high C. They're usually kind of expensive, but because of their like collectability, people like black items. So like black scimitars and stuff. I know I was able to get them sometimes for like 300 GP, and I was able to sell them for like 2,000. But it's slow. It's got to be patient. Or like the collector market, people really like black items, so they're bottom of B, but they're not horrible to get if you want to look for them. Low A, blood runes, really high volume, but it's like 200 GP, so there's like 2 GP tax to deal with razor thin margins. But it's one of those items that if you have like a daily flipping schedule, like you do it 4 or 5 times a day and you're actively day trading, you can cycle through these high volume buy limit items like chaos runes, blood runes, death runes, etc. Cosmic natures, all that stuff, all those super high volumes. You just cycle through them and you can make some decent flips there. Plus they're also decent to swing trade. They're just a really decent item to flip, and most of the time you will get your money back. Yeah, so cape here, it's gonna be D tiered. Like some of this stuff, like I put in here just to kind of like explain that like a lot of stuff in the RuneScape market is kind of garbage for like making a lot of bank. So there's a lot of what RuneScape is just finding good picks and then sticking with them consistently. And then like just sifting through the junk. Just like a lot of it is a lot of shit you can ignore. Like there's certain things that you can buy and like somebody might need it for a clue step or whatever, or just some random shit. Like there's always going to be supply and demand for different things, so you can like buy some certain things and then make some really crazy margins on them, and you can get some sales sometime. But it's just like, it doesn't seem, in my experience, to pay off in the long run. So then we got blue Dehide. This is going to represent all the Dehides. I think this is like, I want to say it's kind of bad, but it is better than most for the entry point. You have the bulk. You have the bulk market. This is an alchable. Like the blue Dehide chaps, like the chaps and van braces, I've had a lot of luck flipping those with some okay margins, like the green Dehide chaps, let's say, for instance here. So I'll just throw that up here since I can see it on the list. I've been able to make like 200 GP each, pretty consistent margins here. And that's a free-to-play item. So, I mean, like, it's a 2K item, 200 GP margin. I can get relatively okay enough, you know. It's pretty consistent. And I haven't even seen, like, when the top could go, how high it goes week to week, because I think that most I've only bought, like, 880 over the week during my little flipping series here. So we got wizard robes, and the wizard blue, the high C. It's not bad. It's not great. There's nothing fancy about it. Bones, high C, nothing. Wait. I might have to chart this one. Bones. I lied about bones. Bones is one of those free-to-play items that do swing up and down. I will put this into a low A. I didn't even think about that. But if we look over in the past, it's got a million volume. We have a swing between like 3 GP at a time. It's 60 to get in, 63 to get out right now. But it's just one of those trades you're gonna have to watch. You might get burned a few times, but that's one of those high volume, larger, like the high volume market, like a 3 GP margin of under 100 GP is like insane. It's a lot of GP, so there's a lot of like potential to get that item. Body runes, lower than bloods. I tried it a few times. It follows the same logic as the rest of the runes. It buys pretty well and it sells pretty well. It's just a little bit higher. It's like 6 to get in, 7 to get out, or something along the lines of that. Bronze bolts, mid B, really cheap to get into. It's just people don't really like it that much. So I mean, you can like buy it from, I don't know. It's okay. Bronze arrows, high B, super cheap to get. Not as good as iron because there's like it's iron but worse. The volume's not there, but the margin's super cheap. It's like 2.3 or something like that. Just look it up. Bronze items. High B. I want to say high B just because of the bulker market. If you can get bronze items less than, I want to say 70 just to be safe. Bronze items less than 70, I think you can profit going to a bulker. I think they'll buy them off you from like 71 to 100. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't sold a lot of bronze items in a long time, but I'm pretty sure that was the last going rate. But you need to check all bulks, or the all bulks friends chat, whatever, clan chat, just to make sure. So we have teleport tablets. I would say these are kind of booty. A lot of people need teleports and stuff like that, but like to flip them, kind of jank. Like the volume's kind of all over the place. Chaos, I'll put in the S tier because it is on the most valuable or the most traded items, and you can get like a pretty solid like 3 to 5 GP margin sometimes. So if you want to do that math, 18,000 times 6, so 108,000. So if you can get like a 3 GP margin right there, you're looking at 300K for the slot per day potentially, and it's not that hard to get the buy limits on chaos runes all the time. So 300K a day times 365 just for that item would be like 118 mil a year. So that's a pretty decent item for anybody to flip. 100 mil a year is not bad for how consistent it is. So Cannonballs, I feel like these are a wild card right now, so they'll go low A. I think because sailing, these are probably pretty hyped. They keep rising. I don't know. I actually haven't checked for a while, but I was flipping them for a little bit, but then, well, for a lot of bit. This is one of my common go-to items to flip, my daily flip check. But then they started pumping like crazy, and I think just the anticipation with sailing that there's a lot of demand for them because of speculation. Chocolate bars, I will say this is a high B because this is a chocolate dust as well then too, because this is one of the most common money makers for free to play. It's like high on the list. It's like 80 to 100K an hour. Cool. This is a decent item to not to flip, but a buy and hold. So I'm going to put it like middle of B. Friends of mine say that this is a really good item to buy and hold because it's tied to the elk price, which I do believe. It's just like one of those items that's like got over 100 GP. Which makes it okay. I wouldn't put it past Cannonballs. Copper ore, it's cheap, but the margin moves around a little bit, so it's a little bit harder to track. Cosmic runes, really stable. I wouldn't put it past Bloods because it's cheaper. It's like less than 100, I believe. Death runes, behind Bloods, because they're around this, if I remember correctly. Deaths, Bloods, Chaos. They're all relatively the same, except for I just can't remember if this one's 200 or 300. $279 for Blood Rune, Death Rune, 166. Okay, sorry. Okay. I get mixed up because of the dead ammo prices all the time too, so that's my bad. Gems and stuff. I'm not a huge fan of gems. Like uncut gems, like sapphires, emeralds, all that stuff. I don't think there's a lot of enough volume to justify how thin the margins are. Dragon items. They're like alchemies. So, like, they're around... I think adamant items should go high on this list. Sorry about that. And then I'd slide dragon right behind that. And this is probably... No. Yes. Yes, actually. So, just reorganizing this. Make sure that I'm still staying congruent with the theme here. Earth Birds, bottom of A. Really good. Sapphire bolts. So a lot of the bolts are going to go high on the list, actually. I've been having a lot of awesome... Like, if the bolt is 100, under 100, it's probably a good bolt. If the volume is at least 500,000 and it's under 100, I'm going to put this high A. I have knew it's high volume. I have not tested it enough to say it's consistent. I haven't been able to buy and sell it enough to say that it's got a decent buy to sell ratio. Whatever. Energy potions, strength potions, low tier potions to trade. I'm just going to put them in D. I don't think they're that good. Feathers. I'm going to put feathers high A. Fire Rune, I'm going to put an S tier because this is the highest volume out of all the alleys throughout my entire time trading yearly. I would say Fire Runes will make you about 30K per day just on their own. So for a free-to-play player, really good. Cheap player, really good. It's hit or miss. You got to wait for dumps. So it's when people... That's how all the elementals work. It's like you wait for dumps. Somebody dump it off a collection. Some bot farms dump it off, whatever. But then you hit a buy limit. It's just like free 50K. And it just comes and they go. Fishing rod represents all tools. All tools suck. Sorry. C tier because I know collectors love tools, but the buy limits are so low, they're really hard to get a lot of. So unless you like get a bunch of accounts, it's not really worth going for. Gold ore, gold B tier. Gilded will be in the D tier as well because it is expensive. You only have 10 mil. Grapes would be high B. There's a lot of volume. People are always using them to go for 99 cooking, so they're like a lot of volume for them, but the margins, they're scary to me. I used to trade them back when they were 9 and sell for 10, but then they spiked all the way up to 40. So then green Dehide, I'm going to put all of them together here. Yeah, they're going to take the top of B. I like green Dehide. They do really well. Heavily alked item is the green Dehide chap, or green Dehide body. I bought them for like 41.50 so many times, and I flipped them for 43.50, but you'll make more money buying them for 41.50 and selling them to the elkers, selling them to the bulkers, stuff like that. But it's still, all these items give you at least a 200 GP margin, and they're okay for volume. Herbs, not a huge fan of herbs. They don't have a lot of volume. Herb lore is skilled where you can make some money with herbs, but the margins on the items individually, they tend to be kind of expensive to get into, and the margins are kind of weak. So leather, hard, or is this normal or hard? So this is normal leather, so that's going to go to the bottom of B because it does trade. People use it all the time, but it is just not very as much volume as normal leather. So we'll put normal leather higher on the list. Hard leather body, I'm going to go like low, like C tier-ish, and same with leather body, because these are going to represent all the leather items you craft, because they kind of suck for the GE because nobody really buys them. Everybody's just always selling them. But this is a very heavily sought-after collector item, I believe. Iron arrows will go... Where should they go? They slowed down for a while, but I still want to believe in them. But because I was making, like, per account, I put on iron arrows was 22k a day. Iron bar... Iron bar. Probably fits here decent. It's not bad. It's not great. Iron dart. High A tier because it is cheap. The margins are all kind of chill. This is going to be the theme too. Mithril dart, I will put it in an S tier. This is another awesome mithril dart. This will include adamant darts too. Both those items are S tier items. And actually I'll slide them up higher because you get better volume on the mithril darts. The adamant darts, you do decent volume with a high margin. So like I buy them for 16, sell for 20. But you can get them for 17, sell for 19, etc. For adamant darts, they do really well. Iron items, you know, you got the all bulks market, so there's that. Jugs, low A tier because there's a high volume on them. It's 1 GP, stable, a lot of volume. Same with jugs of wine. Law runes high on the list, lower than these because they're a little bit. Oh wait, are those cheap now? Sorry, this is where my deadman mode. They are cheap now. Okay, so these go here because they're ahead of death runes. Let's see the volume, 114 million. Yep. Wait, per 7 days. So there's 17 mil a day. Still pretty good. So that's a good item. Maple logs, low A's. Invested in them because of the new some update somebody was telling about. The margins move around sometimes. They're kind of scary, but they're less than 100 and they have decent margins. Mithril arrows. These sometimes run away and go crazy, but they have really, really good volume. So when they're stable, their periods of stability, they're really nice to buy. Mithril bolts, again, this is going to go with that same logic before. Mithril items in general, I'll put them ahead of adamant, but they're not that great. Monk's robe, probably, this is a PK item, just like free-to-play PK item, paid-to-play PK item, but there's not a lot of volume to justify these. They're not that good. Mithril bars, same logic as the adamant bars. Margins are thin, and tax is annoying to deal with. Nature runes. Saw somebody in the Discord. You can buy and sell, buy and hold these, and then make like somewheres. He made 19 on the flip, so that was pretty dang good. We have oak logs here for free to play. That's pretty good. Not high A, high B, sorry, because the volume. Pie dishes. I just wanted to include pie dishes. These are kind of shit to flip, but like if you buy pie dishes over a long period of time. You can make a lot of money in free to play, but they're not very good for flipping. I would say that. Yeah, probably not. But a lot of free to play players are buying them because of wanting to make money in free to play with the low buy limits. So they're always trying to buy them. So if you get a bunch yourself on the cheap, and then you can sell them back, they will buy eventually, and you can have some major margins in them. I've seen like pie dishes go for 5. I've seen them go for 50. I've seen them go for 100, or not 100. Sorry, probably like 65. Sorry about that. Member potions, hit or miss with them, so I'd put them in middle of B. Raw fish like salmon, trout, stuff like that, I will put it high B, because like salmon, for instance, raw salmon itself, I've made some decent money on. Got really good volume. You can get like a 4 to 5 GP margin on them. Cosmetic items, these are gonna be really niche, so that's gonna be up to you to find one special one or whatever. But just for like generally, I wouldn't count on making a lot of money flipping cosmetic items, and that includes like treasure clue scroll items. Sorry, this is all the leathers. Green dragonite leather, blue dragonite leather, stuff like that. I'm gonna put it low or B, because you have a lot of volume, you can get a lot of bot dumps and stuff like that, but because you only have 10 mil, it's gonna be hard for you to get a lot of like volume of it. So let's just say 10 mil. And I know like green Dehide's like 1500. Oops. So you get 6,000 units. So like for you to make, like, that's your entire cash stack, and it's only gonna be worse with like red and blue and stuff like that. So like, so if you invest your entire cash stack into 6,000 units and you're only gonna get like 10 GP for the margin, you're only gonna make 66k for the whole stack. So that's kind of what I mean by like the 1,000 items here are like kind of B. And honestly, the rest of these some of that kind of influences my decision here. Just like some of these items aren't worth like going for, because they might take your entire bank to invest to get any margins worth going for. So like these are definitely better than the ones down here, but pretty much everything B tier and like everything behind like this bronze plate body is kind of booty. Yeah. So red, same thing. These are okay. And okay, so not all the items with 1,000 or more or less, or you know what I'm saying, like with this, because these margins are razor thin on like bones and leather, but like these margins on like these items that are like slower, that would be the same with this, but this would be worse. Like blue Dehide, red Dehide, green Dehide, those margins are like a lot wider because of the low buy limits on the item. So like the green Dehides, you can get 200 each, and these are the same price as like red dragon leather, but the red dragon leather is only going to get you like 10 to 50 GP each. But you can get like some of these and make 200 GP each on that for the slot, and that's going to be better than that one. So rune items, sort of it's pretty much the same. This include like all the rune items are alchable, so they're all stable, and you can get about 1 to 300 items flipping on the GE, and you can sell them for more to the alkers. So this I will just put higher on the B list here, just because of that, because they are stable. But it's just tough to buy, because like 10 mil, let's just do another one. Rune plate bodies are 10,000 or 30,000. So if we go 10 mil times 30,000, you're gonna get 300 times 200, and still it's only coming out to that 66k for the day. So it makes it kind of hard to justify this being in B tier actually to begin with. It's just with 10 mil, you're not looking at a lot of profit with a lot of higher priced items. So runite bolts though, I would put that into a higher A tier, because I bought them at 60, sold them for 63, and I got like, you know, sometimes you could like slow buy, get them for like 55, and then that'll help increase your profits. But I made like 3 mil last month with one slot on this. Just whatever, doing pretty good. Silver ore, kind of booty. Silver bars, kind of booty. Fire staff, kind of booty. Steel items, I'm gonna put ahead of bronze, because you could buy these. This is where you could buy, like, I've bought items for like 100 and I've sold them for like 350 each, and I've gotten like 200 of them a day. So like 250, so it's like 50k an item, or per day. You can get lucky and get some steel items. For instance, the last one I did was steel kite shields at like 125, and I sold them for over 500, and I was getting like 100 a day. So like that type of stuff. So that's a decent item to flip. It's just like a lot of these items too, which are easier to flip, you just have to take into account if they're free to play as well, they will be Harder to flip because you'll have more competition with the other free-to-play players. Yes, so if you can find an item that's sort of like steel, or members items are going to have like a lot easier times making your sales because you have less competition. So just take that into account too. Thread. High A tier. Thread, buy at 8, sell at 9. It's doing really well for me. Tin probably belongs right by copper. They're doing okay, but they're just kind of annoying sometimes. Water runes belong near air runes. Buy at 4, sell at 5. Really high volume. Willow logs. They're less than 100, so they go to the top of B. Wrath runes. High volume, more expensive than bloods. U logs are kind of booty. They're like 300 each, but the margins always fucking suck. Same with the U longbows. Zora scales. Super high volume. One of those daily flip things, so they belong around law runes. Yep. So they have really high volume too, so they'll probably go to the high of this list. We'll put it up. Probably there. So there you have it. There's my flipping for under 10 mil list. So this is going to get you pretty solid money. There's other items like Numalite that are not on here. There's Flax. Flax I forgot to grab. I was just scrolling through all the items and grabbing ones that jumped out at me, just so I could have enough conversation to give you like a pool of items to look through. And I think this will get you started if you have 10 mil and you can grow some bank just using this. Let's see. These items could get you, like, the pure essence are going to be a little bit slower. Like I said, if you go to all box, you can sell them fast, but it is super slow. But they do double. So you can buy like 100K of them, sell 200K, and the sales will take forever, and that might drop it down actually, but feather. So we'll just put that there, top A, just because I love pure essence and that's where I make all my money, but I can understand how players with one account won't like that as much. So like these types of items, adamant bolts, I think I'll make a lot of money just starting here. Okay, so thank you guys very much. Thanks for watching. Check out the links down below to my course on how to scale your flipping empire into making 200 to 400 mil a week pretty easily. I don't know. 10 mil. If you only got 10 mil, I can get you to 100 pretty dang fast. Yeah, check out the link down below. Have a nice day.